Hey, whoa. Oh, yo, 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 yo. Oh, yo. Came up from the struggle, now we stacking chips. Black Wall Street, we rebuilding from the pits. Politics and business, we beyond rich. Donnie Glover Show, watch her shift the switch. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the real ones come. Every episode, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Talking black excellence, ain't no exclusivity. History is making, reclaiming our divinity. Break by break, rebuilding our community. Donnie Glover Show, celebrate unity. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the real ones come. Every episode, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. From the boardroom to the streets, we making waves. Business minds running, new paths paved. Politicians listen, they know we are brave. Black Wall Street dreams rising from the grave. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the
we have some stars in the building.
Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Oh, yo. Oh, yo. Oh, yo, yo.
We'd like to welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Special thank you to our executive producer of Be More News in Niagara, Mr. Emmanuel Price. We're up here this is the New York side, and that's the Canadian side, and we will be there for the New Year's dropping of the ball or somewhere around here. Very beautiful Niagara Falls, some of the best water in the world. So make sure you get out, get your passport, and do some traveling. And keep watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Here on Atlantic, Mississippi, with our very dear friend Corey Mathis. A beautiful town, New Orleans. Keep watching BeMoreNews.com. We're going to give you an update. 10 years since Katrina. The news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
Wall Street, we rebuilding from the pits. Politics.
Quite an opening, huh?
Wow. I can't wait to get my show back. I'm going to have you hook me up. How you doing, my brother?
Grateful, brother. How are you?
Missing the media podcast that you have laid out, not just for the West Coast, but for the middle of the country and for the East Coast. Donnie, it's always a pleasure to be sitting here with you, a man of action, a man of knowledge. Congratulations on your degree. I was checking you out on that, but just the things that you have done and continue to do, I feel that this is going to be a very important year as we move forward, especially since we have a person like Donald Trump pissing off not just our people, Black people, but all people. So keep doing what you're doing. I can assure you, once I get a release from my doctor, both, and I'm going to share this with the audience, both health-wise and a doctor of psychology that I've been seeing for the last 6 months for the behavioral doctor, and also for the health a year and a half. But I say that and share that because, you know, with Dr. Ashley and us talking about the things that Black people say, I'm not going to see no quack. Black people in this country need to see a quack doctor more than any other group of people. 400 years of being beaten and tortured. So anyway, to that end, good morning, brother.
Yeah, but white people need to see a quack too.
Oh, they do.
Because if we get all the therapy and get healed, only to run into unhealed white people.
Well, this country.
Yeah. Yeah, they need therapy too. They need a 12-step too.
Well, thank
They need
you.
to say, yeah, I have a problem hating people because they don't look like me. Yeah, you need some therapy because that's abnormal.
Well, it's abnormal.
Yeah,
It's abnormal not to see a doctor of psychology. It's abnormal.
everybody need to see one. I'm saying if we go see one and we get healed, only to run into unhealed racists all over again. That's like putting dirty clothes in the same washing machine with clean clothes.
I can't argue with that one. That one is that's a very accurate statement. So thank you for pointing that out.
I done got healed, but I still got to deal with the dirty clothes.
Well, let me just tell you this. Part of my injury is a result of racism. And,
You're damn right.
And I got to be honest with you. I can't go into detail because of things are in the workings right now. But one of the things before we get started, because you know me, I can talk all show. You'll be like, man, it's my turn. But one of the things I'd like to point out to your audience, to the audience, to blackusa.news, we have the tens of billion-dollar billionaires who are going non-union. And the reason for them going non-union is so that they don't have to treat all the people at the job because there's no accountability. I've worked for union and non-union shops. And let me be clear here. Some of the wealthiest billionaires are wealthy because they are not taking care of the people who are making the money for them. And that is a critical component with everybody enjoying the American dream. The billionaires who have supported Donald Trump, who bow down to the king. And that's what they've done. They bowed down to the king. The 2016 elections, you didn't see this kind of foolishness. But look at it now. It's horrific. And I can contest that these non-union companies are beating the crap out of black and brown workers. Black and brown workers are dying.
It's having an adverse effect. I beg to differ. Down in Florida, because of the federal government and ICE, some companies are going out of business because the Latinos won't show up.
Well, I'm not talking about Latinos.
You can only get but so ugly. What's happening is there are people like the ones you mentioned who think they can survive in this world on their own. Go ahead, try it.
Well.
They think they can live in this world on their own. So what they do? They go and start a war. They start a war that they figure poor people are going to fight for them.
That's true.
But what happens when you run out of poor people? See, that mentality, they will eventually eat themselves. They will eventually become cannibals.
Well, I don't know if you've been looking at South Africa, the new brother down there who has kicked out all the imperialistic companies that have been pimping them for years.
I've been watching Burkina Faso.
Okay, now you know what I'm talking about. All I can say is this. When the U.S. threatened to kill him.
You know, that's not South Africa. That's West Africa, Burkina Faso.
Well, let's just say Africa, period. The mother country. And the point I'm making here is South Africa is well endowed in gold, minerals, lithium, and other materials that if we harvested, Africans harvested, they wouldn't have the economic challenges. What happens is these imperialistic white companies in all over the world pimps Africa and gives them crumbs while they take the cake. And one thing I do recall reading is Putin is going to help the brother down there to have an independent country. And I have to be honest with you, after living in America and after even just the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years dealing with what I've been dealing with, this country and other countries, they talk about democracy, freedom, taking care of the people. And they're not doing that. They're not doing that. The rich get
so let's
richer.
get some names out there, Doug. You got Google in front of you. The South African president is Cyril Ramaphosa. And when you mention South Africa, you're talking about Donald Trump allowing the Afrikaners, the same people who went to South Africa from the Netherlands and exploited it for its gold, for its diamonds. They're getting kicked out, like in the days of Idi Amin. You still with me?
I'm right there. I'm with you. I'm looking through Google right now, but go ahead. I'm right with you.
So now they, Donald Trump feels sorry for them, like they refugees or something. People like Donald Trump are a trip. And I gotta say this. I know they're good white people, but they're gonna have to step up. Because Donald Trump is giving all people, all Americans, particularly rich white ones,
right,
a really bad name. So, we have to be careful not to allow one person
Burkina Faso president
to represent all of white people. But on the other hand, those who have different opinions, what's the Italian actor's name? The gangster. Not Pacino.
I know I just had the tip of my. Not Al Pacino, but I know who you're talking about. Can't think of it off the top of my head.
They go in on Donald Trump. They call him all kinds of, what's his name? God forgive me. It's going to come right to us as soon as we get it.
Okay. Well, how you doing? How's it going out there on the East Coast?
Robert De Niro go in on him so hard. Robert De Niro don't play with Trump, calls him all. I bet you this is cleaners. No, this is Florida. Last night, a group of white people in Federal Hill talked about how young black people on motorcycles should be outlawed and how black people commit most crimes in Baltimore. Racism is alive and well. Baltimore is majority black, so obviously most of the crimes in a city where blacks have been disenfranchised. But when you say commit most crimes, okay, here's a crime. We're going to take your tax dollars. We're going to create these gambling facilities, and we're going to promise you dumb people that we're going to fix your schools. That is criminal. See, it's all in your perception. It's all in your perception of criminal. What's criminal is that we got a new football stadium, a new baseball stadium, but we got schools without air and without heat. That is criminal. What's criminal is that we are more concerned about a racetrack for horses than schools and recreation centers for young people.
Well, even with the lotto, it's the same thing. They talk about all this money that was going to be generated from the lotto, and how's that worked out? So this country has continuously, the top half, less than 1% continuously pimp the rest of the country, and that's why where we are today. That's why Trump is in office.
Malcolm X said, "Watch out for white media." See, the white media will have the innocent looking guilty and the guilty looking innocent. So, Michael Randolph, shame on you for bringing. What news outlet did he bring on here? Oh, he didn't mention no news outlet. Good thing, Mike. Mike, that's why we got black media, because we know what they're going to report and we know how they're going to report it.
Well, Burkina Faso president, Ibrahim
Traore.
Traore. One of the things I love about him, he's a young brother, intelligent, articulate, and he sees the opportunity that his country has to be independent of the Western civilization.
After you get rid of them cancerous people who are in there stealing on a regular basis.
And he's even
identified. Let me help Mike out. Mike, anything you see from Fox is going to be something evil. So do me a favor, Mike. Spare us from being further poisoned by Fox. We don't care about them. We know who they are. We know what they stand for. So we're not surprised by them.
Right.
No more than Mike. Bring up some black media. See, what happens, Doug, a lot of times people who used to live in the city, Mike lives down in Florida now.
Well, Florida has some of the biggest rednecks I've ever seen coming down out of Florida.
So he's down in Florida and he's watching Fox online to get a taste of Baltimore. The only thing is, you know, you asking the devil to see for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
You gotta read. There you go. Thank you, Grady Cleaners. You gotta read your own people. So, Doug, let's get the point. Let's get the point. Congratulations. You predicted what happened. Tell them about Barbara Lee.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Barbara Lee.
All right, Doug, we only got 43 minutes, so it sounds like you're about to start one of them long Santa Claus stories. Go ahead, it's your show.
You know, you brother, man. The biggest thing with Barbara Lee here, and the reason why I fought so desperately for her, is because Barbara Lee is going to bring in not only just state dollars, but federal dollars. Barbara Lee's interaction with the federal government makes her identify money that's needed here in the city of Oakland to resolve the over $130 million deficit we have today. And next year is supposed to soar up to $270 million. Barbara Lee brings in the expertise. She brings in the ability to bring people together. Now, I had a brother named Lauren Lee who ran against her. And one of the things that I like about Barbara Lee, she's not going to be bought out. The brother, Lauren Taylor, who ran for mayor against her, he started bad-mouthing her. He got $400+ from MAGA donors to win the election. And I pointed out on my LinkedIn page, Art Blackshear, and on my Facebook page and Instagram, Art Blackshear. I pointed out that Lauren Taylor, if he becomes the mayor of Oakland, he will be bringing in Donald Trump and that other fella who has demonstrated an inability to understand normal people. So getting back on,
I want you to slow down, Doug. Let me ask you this. Are you talking about her opponent was the black man?
Yeah, Lauren Taylor. Yeah, Google him. He's a black man.
I don't want to see him. So this is a black man, and he was a Democrat or Republican?
Democrat.
Who took Trump money? Who took MAGA money?
$400,000. You can Google it and track the money.
I don't want to see him. I want to know what was the final election result.
I don't have those statistics right here in front of me, but she won.
Let's look it up.
Okay. So hey Donnie, you called me last night. I couldn't get my numbers again. But I was so excited about
it. Explain this. Explain the special election.
Well, Shang Tao, who once again demonstrated an inability to be honest, and who I supported. But when I found out that she was pimping the city, I was the first one on the bandwagon to say, well, hey, look, Shang, this is not about you. And when I met with Shang, she had at that early part of her campaign demonstrated to be a people's candidate running for the mayor of Oakland. And once she got in office, She after 2 years, the FBI raided her house. She's under indictment for criminal activity.
What
And
the
she
hell
could be,
did she do in 2 years?
man, let me tell you something. A lot of these politicians, when they get in office, they pimp. They think they're above the law. There's one politician here who I read, who I supported. They called her a mob boss and talking to people crazy, not being a leader in her office. You know, when I ran a business, you have to respect the people who work for you, because if you don't, those are the same people who can sink your ship. And when Shane got in office, she was MIA for the first year, and that
What do you mean she was MIA?
She didn't do anything. Shane Tao, who was recalled, the ex-mayor Shane Tao, who was recalled in the city of Oakland. Yeah, she's what is her nationality? I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's
okay, come on with it.
Yeah, but anyway, she's from Asia.
See, that's broad. Let's find out. Let's give us some. I mean, Asia's a big place. All right, Doug. And Doug, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, so I got to give you a break out there.
Man, I sure appreciate it, because I had to grab my collar and pull me out the bed at 4 to start getting ready. And as you see, when you came on, I was already backstage.
She was the first
Hmong. Hmong. That's it. Hmong.
What is Hmong?
It's country in Asia.
Damn, I never even heard of this.
Me neither.
What
but she could have. She could have.
Okay,
She could have done
an ethnic group known as the Mao, with origins in China, who have migrated and settled in various parts of Southeast Asia, including Laos, Thailand, Vietnamese. Then I said Thailand and Myanmar. I know Myanmar, anyway, the Hmong, so the indigenous Chinese, okay. And they've expanded. Okay, all right. So we got an idea. Well, at least we learned a new ethnic group in Asia.
Well, you know, the Bay Area is the melting pot for the world.
So Greater Cleaners say most start following old trends in the office. Was there corruption before? Sheng Dao.
Sheng Tao. We could be doing a whole story just on her corruption and her boyfriend's corruption. So it's really sad that.
How do people do that? I mean, if you're dirty, don't get in the office. Do you want to be in the newspaper?
Well, wait a minute. What did James Brown? For the love of money. Don't get me to try to sing it right.
It is a little early in the morning. For the love of money, people would kill their own brother.
For the love of money, you're right. But getting back on Barbara Lee, let me tell you something. The demographics of the voting show that the Flatlands is the one that put her in office, and the Hill people, who was a majority of white, where Lauren Taylor lives in. And when I went to vote, it was up in the hills of Oakland. You saw a bunch of Lauren Taylor signs, but if you go on the Flatlands, you saw a bunch of Barbara Lee signs. One of the things, America, I want you to understand: don't bring that crap here in Oakland and the Bay Area, because we're gonna fight you.
Tell me about Lauren. Where's Lauren? This black man taking MAGA money. Isn't Oakland the home of the Black Panthers?
Man, I met with this brother when he first ran for city council in 2017, and I asked him where would the majority of his money coming from. It's coming from the ex-mayor who pimped this city out of $60 million from some program called Oakland Promise that was originally started by a black woman. And I asked Lauren, I said, Lauren, since you're getting a chunk of money for your campaign, who you going to be loyal to? From Libby, I call her ex-mayor Lobby Libby. He said, "Oh no, man, I'm going to be taking care of the people." Once he got elected, and I supported him to be elected. Once he got elected,
you got to stop. You got to think about who you endorse from here moving forward.
Oh well,
let people listen to you.
Well, let me just be clear here, Donnie. You're going to have a couple of worms in the apple. That's just happening. You know, people are going to get in office. And one of the things that the Bay Area has, that Oakland, Alameda County has, if you play stupid politics, we can recall you out. We as two politicians here in the Bay Area, the district attorney and the mayor of Oakland, who apparently wasn't doing their job, and less than 2 years, they got booted out. So, yeah, we make mistakes, and everybody does, especially with these slick talking wannabe politicians. Instead of taking care of the constituents, they take care of themselves. One of the things politicians don't understand is when you get elected to take care of your people, your constituents, your businesses. I met with Lauren Taylor 6 times when he was the city council, and what he said was, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Under his regime, black businesses suffered, went out of business because he is one of them. And I hope he gets his tape, because it's true what I'm saying about Mr. Lauren Taylor, who ran for the mayor of the city of Oakland. That's why he lost.
Do you have a black newspaper?
Yes, it's called The Post, with Gay Cobbs and Paul Cobbs, who had it for over 50 plus years.
Do you write for it?
No, I pretty much stick with working with you on the podcast, working with community and small businesses. With my schedule, I find myself pretty busy doing community work, community policing advisory board. I'm not a delegate.
My point. I'm asking you, do you have black media in Oakland to inform the people, or is it assumed that everybody knows that Lauren is a MAGA supporter? I mean, what is your vehicle out there? You have to have a vehicle.
Well, I'm not saying the Post is afraid. I'm not saying anyone is afraid, but some people, because they're concerned about endorsements, getting those advertisement dollars, they try to stay neutral.
Ain't no such thing as damn neutral. Then see, that's why you need your own, Doug.
Well,
neutral is Trump neutral. See, there we go playing checkers while everybody else is playing chess.
That's true. That is true. And that's what happened here in Oakland. People found out that Mr. Lauren Taylor was playing checkers. That's why he
they should have known about him all along.
Well, he presents himself as an intelligent.
He took MAGA money. That's all you need to know.
Oh,
and this guy damn near beat Barbara Lee.
Well, it appeared to be that way, but one of the things that some of my political advisors and mentors have told me is that initially that did appear to be what was going on out here. But once the community leaders, the preachers, the neighborhood start understanding who Lauren truly was, that's why he lost. Now, once again, if you look at the demographics of the voting poll, you'll see that white people voted for him and the Flatlands did not. And that's case in point. But on looking at what Barbara Lee,
the home of the Black Panthers, man, I'm still trying to understand. Y'all were the national leaders on being black. Started the breakfast program.
Well, we demonstrated international leadership by debating MAGA support. MAGA.
Yeah, you did. You beat them by 5,000, but that was too damn close. So now that you got your,
but you got to remember, that was an off-year election. So for her to win an off-year election, and Mr. Lauren Taylor got $400,000 plus campaign donation from the MAGA team or MAGA associate, that was pretty darn good. Because
and you won, but you better get ready for the next fight because it ain't over. So right now, you should be stocking up, building up your black media, and building up your media connections, social media, email lists. And you need to win over some of them white people, because if they want to give you a black man and Frosted Flakes,
Well, that's how we won, because in the flatlands of Oakland, one of the things that you'll find out, gentrification has taken 46% of African Americans in the 70s and 80s who dominated the city. We're down to 20%. And so when I say the flatlands, I include the gentrification, people who live in those flatland areas.
You got to grow your numbers, bro. Anytime a MAGA guy gets within 5,000 votes of knocking off Barbara Lee, what's her reputation? What's Barbara Lee's reputation in Oakland? She was in Congress, right?
Yeah, 20 plus years. Barbara Lee speaks
and
for me.
You need to grow some new Barbara Lees.
We already working on it. We have. I've been talking to a lot of young people who are lawyers, psychologists, city administrators about getting out there and coming to the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee parties and understanding the issues. So when they run,
let me tell you something. I know I cut you off. We found that these Democratic committees are more racist than MAGA.
That is true. I had to, when I first became a member.
They are not necessarily your friends.
Yeah, no. There continuously is a push for, they want our votes,
but they don't want your politics.
They don't want our politics. Exactly.
We've seen them. And they will get you a frosted flake Negro.
That they will. Well, I'm gonna point out a brother who you can look up, Kalima Pryforce. He is a city council for a member of the city council for the city of Emeryville, California. He moved out here from New York. When he came to the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee, brother 6'4", dreadlocks down his back, and has a big stick like Kane. When he came down there,
why? Is he resembling Moses?
No, that's just his style. But when he came into the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee, white men were looking at him and gawking.
Everybody looking at him. You're a big 6 foot black man, 6'4" with a stick.
And then on top of that, the white women start clenching their purse. I think they thought he came in to rob it.
I'd be clenching my purse too if I was a woman.
I got up, walked over there.
Say, brother, put the stick there.
No, I didn't do that. I walked over there, shook his hand, and said, "My name is Doug Blackshear."
That's you 6'3" too.
And I gave him a hug, and I said, "Come on in."
And put your damn stick down. Stop scaring people.
3 months later,
people.
3 months later, I convinced him to run for a position, and he won. He won city council for Emeryville, California. And once again, his name is Kalima, and his last name is Pryforce, P-R-I Force. So these are the types of things that we and I call myself a triple OG because I'm over 60 now. But we have to get young people engaged. We have to mentor. We have to talk to them. We have to let them know that your leadership is needed in this.
Maybe you need a stick out there in Cali. I don't know. I know in Baltimore they might lock you up for carrying a stick.
Well, no, in the Bay Area.
But come on, man. What's the stick for? Why? Why?
You know what? You can't fault a guy for his style. That was his style. And
when you carry a stick, people usually associate you with something.
Well, it wasn't like a stick. It was more of a really nicely decorated cane. It was a tall cane now.
That's a staff. That's not a stick. That's not a cane. That's a staff. You look like Moses. You look like Moses. You're about to part the seas. It might be a little too biblical for me. Okay, all right.
Well, I tell you, man, you got to remember the new generation is not like when, and you only, about 10 years younger than me. When we were growing up.
I turned 60 in a few days.
Are you kidding? I thought you was 50 something.
You
are 50. But when we grew up, we put on our slacks and shirt and nice shoes.
Your mother did not give you a stick for Easter.
I'm not talking about at that age. I'm talking about at the age now, the people. You try to be funny.
He gonna bring his mother into it.
Donnie, that's what's wrong with Black Americans. We have to accept these young. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, I don't accept the baggy pants with the drawers hanging out and all that. I'm not into all that. What I am into is young Black men who are interested into getting into politics and making a difference. I am interested in making sure that I mentor to the best of my ability instead of getting these brothers who are taking MAGA money and who are gatekeepers. You know,
I will take the dude with the stick over the dude taking MAGA money. I will take Moses. I'm with you, Moses. I'm with you, Moses. I'm not taking the MAGA dude. But
look at Eric Adams in New York. We could have had the same thing like that here in the Bay Area in Oakland, California with this Lawrence.
That's a loaded statement. What do you mean, look at Eric Adams? As mayor?
Well, no. He had to make a deal with Trump so that he wouldn't be going through the judicial process for whatever he was alleged to have done.
That's so complicated, and that's how it seems. I'm not going to comment because I don't know.
Well, I do know, and let me just tell you this.
What do you know?
If you're not playing with fire, you won't get burned. You can't get indicted for something that they have no evidence of you have done. I'm 62 years old. I ain't never been to jail.
Let me applaud you, Black man. Let me applaud you because you are what they call an anomaly in America.
I have never been in jail. I have never been pulled over for a DUI. When I go to a job, then white people want to hire me so quick. You know, in the past, they would hire me so quick because they were baffled that, hey, dang, this Black man.
That's this one. Oh my God, he must be a smart one.
Yes, that is what I'm trying to point out. Most of the young Black men now in America, specifically in the urban area, have gone to jail, done time, and a white man could go to jail.
Let's be careful. If you don't know that to be true, the perception is is that many Black men have been arrested, and that's in sync with the facts. The fact is America represents 5% of the world's population, but we have 25% of the incarcerated people.
Why is
that? Be careful saying most Black men have been locked up because that's stretching it.
Okay, let me retract that statement and rephrase it.
We don't want to support their narrative of us.
America wants to destroy Black men's lives
all day long.
And the best way to do that is to incarcerate them. I totally agree. If you look at the statistics for police pulling people over, we are at the height. We're at the top of the heap. And that is by design. Back in the 90s, I kept getting pulled over by the police. I bought a IROC, one of them fast cars, and police kept pulling me over. The fifth time they pulled me over, I went straight down to Oakland PD, and I walked in. I said, hey, I own a business here in Oakland. Here's my business card. I do work for the city of Oakland, and I keep being harassed. And they were called the Rough Riders back then. They were prosecutors, a group of white boys. Get out of the car, get out of the car. Knew this about the fifth time I knew they knew it was my car. By the second time I knew. But when I went down there to internal affairs, I didn't go down there saying, man, they picking on me. Man, they picking on me. I went down there intelligent and articulate, and I said, look, I'm placing a complaint against these white cops who keep pulling me over for no reason. If I miss a bid because I had a contracting company, if I miss a bid, I'm going to sue Oakland and I'm going to win. And he gave me, he gave me his card. He said, next time you get pulled over, show him this card. Man, I skidded out of the OPD, Oakland Police Department. I'm looking for cops now. When it was no more than a week later, these same cops pulled over, get out of the car, guns drawn. I rolled down the window a little bit and I put the card out. And they said, get out of the car. I said, hey, look at this card. And I guess the sergeant of the group walked over there and he saw the OPD and the Oakland symbol. So he grabbed the card and he looked at it. And the back of the card, it said, if you have a problem with this man, call us. And it was internal affairs. Do you know, I have never been pulled over since 1990 here in the city of Oakland. The point I'm making here is we have to teach our young people, specifically black men, to be intelligent and think with their brains, because they would have loved for me to get mad, jump out the car, and then shoot me, and then say they feared for their life. And that was back in the 90s. So the point I'm making here is, even when I was working with the NAACP, with the young black men, I told them, think with your brain, because thinking with your heart will put you in the 6 foot under.
That's a good point, Doug.
That's an excellent point. I'm telling you, when I saw, that's why I'm on a community policing advisory board, because I want to educate these police out here in Oakland. And I
tell you how we educate them. You sue them. Take their money, and then they will leave you alone. Burn them up in the pocket. Take their money, sue them, and then they will leave you alone. Because, hey, at the end of the day, nobody likes losing money. Take their money.
Yeah.
Now we had a comment because what's up with the female district attorneys out there? Kamala Harris come from California, right?
Right.
She was the district attorney out there
in San Francisco.
Her job was to lock up people.
Well, I think she was addressing the high rise in crime, but she also had developed many programs that benefited people who were incarcerated and preventive programs that would address not getting caught up so that you wouldn't get caught up.
So she was for her people.
Right. Now let me point this out to your national audience. And let me tell you something, Donnie. A lot of people watch you out here on the West Coast because they say, hey man, what's going on? When you going back? And Donnie doing the job. So and I sent out on my Facebook page, my Instagram, and my LinkedIn that I was going to be a guest on your show today. But to that end, we have 3 DAs in the Bay Area, in the major counties. Brooke Jenkins, if you go on my LinkedIn, you'll see a picture of me taking a picture with her at her campaign where she won. Pamela Price, she was an Alameda County District Attorney. She got recalled. And you got lady in Contra Costa, like I said, to the end of my, but she's a sister. The point I'm making here is that I asked all 3 DAs to come on the show last year. And unfortunately, Pamela Price said, and I supported Pamela Price. Pamela Price said that she didn't want to be on the same stage with Brooke Jenkins. It wasn't about being on the same stage. It was about showing that the Bay Area, or as we call it, the Yay area, we are united. And when people see a break, a divide in and a division of Black people, they just exploit it. They exploit it. So I'm very disheartened that Pamela Price chose not to come on, and I wasn't saying for her to be with the other 2 county DAs going, kumbaya, my Lord, kumbaya, but talking about different tactics that would help address the needs of our community. Because if we know, the DAs all across this country have a ton of power in the districts that they serve, in the counties that they serve. And if we look at different tactics from different DAs and how to make it better and cross-train each other on how to address the needs that are incarcerating our young brothers and sisters for things that if a white boy did or a white woman did, they would have a slap on the wrist and go back out there and don't get in trouble anymore. But we don't. If we have politicians get there, well, I'm mad at her and she didn't do this for me and I'm mad at him. We got to get past that. White people look at that as, yeah, I knew they can't even get together on the same stage. So
Black people do a damn good job at organizing in a racist America when we only 15% of the population. Hold on, let me get a word in. I'm gonna give you a lot of time.
Yes, sir.
We are stronger than white media will ever give us credit for. Just the fact that we haven't lost our damn minds and picked up an AK and sprayed the whole damn White House. Kudos to black people just for being alive in this racist summer place.
Yeah, I totally agree. But on the other side, when you
hold on, we done did all of that. We turned the other cheek, and that's why we call Oakland, because Oakland got a different reputation. Y'all built different. Nationally, Oakland got a reputation for picking up breakfast for the kids. Started the National Breakfast Program. The Black Panthers started it. Now, I'm not calling for all-out revolution.
Well, we had that.
You know, down in Florida, they got this not effing around crew.
I like them people. I've watched them, and they're doing a great job.
Temporary. Yes, we want to be protected. No, we don't want to be categorized as murderers in a place that has a long history of murdering us. But like the Panthers, we're not going to let you come over here and hurt us. If you think that's the case, you got a different thing coming to you. So big ups to Oakland. And yeah, we look to Oakland for the soldiers, the history, the legacy, just like Baltimore. They might talk smack around Baltimore, Hartford County, Cecil County, but they not coming down on North Avenue and talking that smack because they know they won't make it out.
Well, I know we're working
especially down the bottom. Come down Pennsylvania Avenue over Greenmount, running that, you're not going home.
Well, I know we're running down with 11 minutes, but it's
black meat. We can stay as long as you want because you done got me revved up now.
Well, I want to get back on the economic opportunities that have.
Let me not take over your show.
Let me talk about the economic opportunities that have been taken away and going to continuously be taken away with these non-union companies. You find these billionaires becoming richer in these non-union sweatshops, in these non-union death traps, in these non-union places where if you pulled out the books, the white boys and would be getting paid more than the black people and the brown people and the women and white women too. One of the things that you said, Doni, and I'm going to call you on that, you said, look at Florida. Well, let me just say, look at California. The biggest thing that I'm going to support, and I supported Barbara Lee on, is that she support the trade union. She support the trade union and the union. And the unions may not be all that we want them to be, but when it comes down to getting representation, comes down to getting fair pay for the work that you do, being compensated fairly, just like white men. And white men all across this country in non-union company, they get paid correctly. They get paid a fair wage. But we don't know that when you're dealing with a non-union company. I tell you this, I've worked at several companies that I used to wonder, how does white boy buying a boat? How does this white boy got a house and a summer house? How is this white boy taking his family to Disneyland and Disney World and to Europe? And I'm barely paying the bill. Through litigation, I found out that the white man pays the white man more money, up to 25 to 40% more than he pays the black man or the other man or the woman. So when I holler about union, I holler about unions because the way you keep a group down, you keep them down economically. And so if you don't pay them what you pay the white boy who does comparable work, then you are going to find poverty. You are going to find kids who can't get a good education because their parents can't afford to send them to private school. You are going to find brothers and sisters living in subsidized housing because they get in 25 to 40% less than the white man. These are facts. These are things that I'm not just preaching on. These are things that I know. When I was working with the NAACP, Doni, and I appreciate you letting me ramble on because I want to point out to your national audience that this country has a problem when you have a group of people, and I'm going to use black people. Black people spend 1.5 billion, 1.5, I think it's trillion, a billion, I think it's trillion, $1.5 trillion a year in this country. And that's more than any other group.
Trillion.
Yeah. Well, you see, it's better. Thank you for clarifying. Doni, I've been out for a while, so I got to, it's kind of like a lawnmower. I got to go, I got to get it. But $1.5 trillion, if black people stop spending money for one day in this country, we can shut it down. If black people stop buying these Bezos cars and these other electric cars from these white-owned businesses, we would shut it down. But we need to pull our money together. We need to get a book. So when I come to the East Coast, Doni, I'm going to the black restaurant. I'm going to the black spa. I'm going to the black restaurant. To the black hotel. You guys got a beautiful black hotel in Baltimore. I think it was Baltimore. That a friend of mine, when we were out there, we were staying at a really nice hotel out there. And then when we found out there was a black hotel, we packed up and went over to the black hotel. And you know what I'm talking about? The Ivies, that's right. So the point I'm making here is the white man wants to take our money, but he don't want to pay our people right. He don't want to take care. He don't want.
Shame on him.
Yeah, and I go back to this again. I will bet you $100 bill to $1 bill that every non-union company in America, and I'm going to say that again, every non-union company in America are paying white men 25 to 40% plus more than they pay their black counterparts who do the same work. And it's shameful. That's why you got these billionaires, because they allocate their resources to make sure they take care of their own. And when you run in a business, you need to take care of all your people, not just the white men. And at the end of the day, if we are economically disadvantaged, we are disadvantaged as a whole. I see down here it says group economics and why it's so important. It's important because our dollar is power. It's called economic slavery. I've recently been involved with a company that has demonstrated it is unable or unwilling or incapable or incompetent of being fair to people of color, running a sweatshop, running a business that is unsafe for its workers, hiring management people who at best are incompetent. I met with companies, non-union, and told them, you guys are losing millions of dollars a day because you would rather put a white man in charge who has no experience, who probably from Wyoming or Idaho, who don't know how to deal with his black workers, who talk to him substandard, who treats them different. You have no idea. When I get my head back on right, I'm going after these companies like fire and brimstone. It's shameful, and people need to know who they are so they can stop buying their products. Because once again, we spend $1.5 trillion on products in this country, on services is good. And what do we get out of that? We get kicked in the ass. And this brother right here, unions have been in the fight for stabilizing the middle class for generations. They haven't always been a friend of black folks, though. And I agree with you, brother. Byron Dees, I totally agree with you. But on the other hand, at least you got a little dog in the fight. You may not have a pit bull or a Rottweiler, but you got a little dog in the fight There's certain rules that they have to follow. But when you're dealing with a non-union company, they don't give a damn about the black man. They don't give a damn.
That's why, Doug, I'm writing
Right.
my 4th book. It'll be out shortly. And one of the things I do highlight is Burkina Faso.
Well, one thing you notice, you see how I get passionate, Donnie, and I apologize. I'm about ready to take this call.
We love your passion.
Well, hey, I know for a fact that if billionaires start paying all the people fair wages, they would have more productivity. They would have less anxiety, more participation. And
how do you think this thing is going to play out with Donald Trump?
I've had many people tell me that the way he's going,
I mean, who goes and messes with Canada? Canada's like the little kid dressed for Sunday school at the end of the block. Nobody messes with Canada. That's what are you messing with Canada for?
Donald Trump. He
Why?
Well, look back in slavery days. Where did most black people, other than running up north, they ran up to where? Canada. Donald Trump has.
He ran to Florida also. Florida was owned by Spain until 1831.
Right. But I'm just saying, America.
But yeah, they went to Canada.
Yeah, America has
demonstrated. Not that Canada was perfect, but it was better than America.
Yeah, Canada's better than America right now. I mean, at the way we're
get health care.
Yeah. So it's critical that we understand, and I appreciate the young brother getting there saying that, yeah, the unions aren't going to be as fair, but we have more of a chance to get equity and equality at the workplace versus these non-union sweatshops that have safety issues, that once you get injured, they kick you to the curb. Once you get injured, they try to throw you out and think that you're ignorant and can take anything. But at some point, they're going to run up against somebody who is not afraid for a battle for equality, equity, and fair pay. And the unions, if you're in a union and you're working as a carpenter, you're going to get paid the same amount of money being a carpenter as this white boy do. If you're doing overtime, you're going to pay the same amount of money as this white boy doing overtime. If you are working at a non-union shop in any state in this union, the white man is going to get paid more than the black man, and that's been proven time again. And it's not something I'm thinking. Let me tell you something, brother. I've had the books open up for several hundreds of million dollar, if not tens of $billion company, and I have never seen a black man make more money than a white man in the same position. Never. So we can talk about the unions, and yeah, we can talk about them, and they're challenging, and we're gonna have to fight for what's right. But you're gonna get the same pay working for a union company doing the same work as your counter white boy part. Thank you.
So, Doug, do you know what's happening Saturday?
What, in Oakland? No,
Nationally.
I don't.
Nationally.
Oh, no, I don't know. I've been kind of laying low.
Look at the ticker.
Greater Baltimore Black Empowerment Forum to commemorate 104th anniversary of Tulsa Race Mass. Oh yeah, I would love to go to that. When Saturday.
Well, you can have your own program there in Oakland. It's 104 years. Doug, how many times has America bombed its own citizens?
Too many for me to throw an accurate number, because I'm sure there's some bombings that we don't even know about.
Well, two known ones. One was Tulsa's Greenwood District on May 31st to June 1st, 1921. And then also, do you remember the movement in Philadelphia?
Yes, I do call
Those
that.
were the 2 times the American government bombed its own people.
Well, that's too many. How about that?
Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
That's too many.
They didn't bomb the Klan. They didn't bomb skinheads. They didn't bomb the Proud Boys. But they will bomb a black community.
Well,
so on Saturday, I want you to listen. We're taking a moment to talk about black economic empowerment in our city. And maybe there are other programs, I would imagine, around the country, including Tulsa, to make mention of this. And I got to tell you, do you remember when Trump was president before? He actually tried to go to Tulsa on this at the same time to kind of get some brownie points from black people. And he ended up bringing a lot of attention to Tulsa's Black Wall Street, positive attention. And I'm not at all giving that man any credit, but
well, let me.
No, I got a point.
Oh, okay. I thought you was pausing.
If a Republican, if a MAGA Republican like Trump can recognize Tulsa, then shouldn't the Democrats? Shouldn't the Democrats?
Well, let me just say this, Donnie. Because I was so happy.
Byron mentions Rosewood. You got Rosewood. You got New Orleans. New Orleans might have been the most violent. You got the Greensboro massacre. There were massacres across the country, including the Second Seminole War, which was, from my research, the largest insurrection in America. New Orleans was pretty big too. In New Orleans, they put black people's heads on spikes for over a mile, maybe longer. This fear, this terrorism, America created the world's first terrorists. They talk about ISIS, Al Qaeda, Hamas, America, KKK. Ain't nobody more terrorist than this country. And we have survived it. Thank God they don't run around playing with bombs per se. But a terrorist is a terrorist, no matter what they use. It's like an abusive relationship. The man may not hit her, he may not cuss at her, but if he control all the money and she got to go to him for the money.
By design. That's by design. To make the black man look.
Relationship is abusive relationship.
Well, let me just say this, Donnie. I've been in a lot of pain.
Shout out to Rosewood and the people that survived it, and the people who died in it.
Donnie, I've been in a lot of pain for the last year and a half, and tonight, this morning rather, I took 2 Vicodins because I wanted to be on your show. I wanted to be on this show representing the West Coast, Northern California, and talking about the things that we're talking about.
I'm sorry.
Oh, the things that you have brought to our people in this country as it relates to fairness and information and knowledge is invaluable. And thank you.
The pleasure's all mine. Do we need to cover anything else? This we got to get you on more. I'm glad you answered the call, and we got to do this more. So in summary, tell us what we need to know about Barbara Lee.
In summary, what you need to know about Barbara Lee. Barbara Lee speaks for me. My name is Doug Blackshear. My full government name is Art Douglas Blackshear. And Barbara Lee is going to come into this city and make a difference. She's not going to come in here with MAGA money. And once again, if you look at my LinkedIn page, Art Blackshear, Facebook, Art Blackshear, and also Instagram, Art Blackshear, what you'll find me saying is pointing out the true facts of candidates who run. And anybody who takes MAGA money, I'm going to fight them tooth and nail, because we in Northern California, now if you look at the outlining areas, which are predominantly white, MAGA supported, but we in the urban areas, LA, Oakland, California, San Francisco, urban areas, we're going to fight against having Donald Trump come in here and destroy our way of living. And what Barbara Lee is going to do, Barbara Lee knows where that money is in the federal government. Barbara Lee is mentoring, I believe, Latifah Simon, who just won the congressional seat for Barbara Lee. And I believe that Barbara Lee is going to get the dollars that we need in this town. And let me back up a little bit. One thing she said in her swearing-in speech, I was invited to her swearing-in speech, and it was amazing. She's not going to support half of Oakland. She's going to support all of Oakland. And that's how politicians need to be. We need to stop supporting rich, white, affluent neighborhood, and we need to support all of our cities, people, and their need. We need to, one thing Barbara Lee said, she support union trades in the Bay Area, and that's what got her over the edge too. Supporting union labor, because union labor means fair economics, fair pay for all people. And once again, these non-union companies are sticking it to the black people and sticking it to brown people and sticking it to anybody who's not a white man living in this country. Thank you.
Doug Blackson, thank you for joining us today. Good morning, world.
Thank you. And Donnie, anytime you call, let me know ahead of time, because I had to get up early this morning. I had to take two. It was 800.
You can put them down now. Okay.
But hey, thanks for having me on. I'll see you soon.